All right, part three, top 15 timeless investing principles that we should know for 2024. So, next up, we've got let your winners run. So, if you are investing and you've got a winner and you know that, um, you know, you're investing in Amazon and you got in at a decent time. Maybe you didn't get in the very floor, but you got in even when it was a bit expensive, but you believed in it, and the underlying foundation of that business is good. You see all the pieces that put together a really strong winner. Don't get out. Don't get out. Do not get out of that stock. Um, if you see that there is potential for a big catastrophic downfall, it doesn't matter if you're winning, two, three, four, 50. If you got a huge multiplier of a winner in a stock and it's killing the market, um, and there's an appetite, you've got to stick with it. If you want to, if you want to trade back a percentage, if you want to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cash out, a percentage of that winner, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to maybe you're looking at that seasonal place and you're like, you know what, um, maybe it's winter months, or maybe there's that they're going to have a bad quarter, um, and there's something maybe you can take advantage of. Maybe you can say, all right, I'm gonna cash out 20% or something, 30%. I don't know. And then you want to maybe wait and then buy back. Maybe if it's going to, if you want to wait for that period where you see the dip, maybe you're ahead of the dip. You see the dip after you've sold, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get back in. Do that. Take some winnings back, but don't just divest. If it is a rock solid investment, you need to stay invested, because we're talking about long term and investing here. We like that, and we're trying to really build a legacy of wealth for yourself, not just money, but we're investing, timeless investing, we're investing in all kinds of things. What to do with your time, what to do, how to invest into your family, all kinds of things. So let your winners run. Next, we're talking about compounding. So compounding can be beautiful. Um, we like to compound um, our earnings. Um, there's nothing. There's nothing like um, really taking advantage of um, of wealth when you're compounding interest, and um, that is, when you want to take advantage um, of of interest, you want to be able to see those gains. Um, the idea to compounding is it's not to lose anything. Um, you want to like, so the idea is you want to get rid of risk, and so if you've earned a positive amount of interest um, every year with no market loss, compounding interest can be thought of an interest on interest. It can make your principal go as long as you continue to receive any kind of positive rate of interest. Obviously, the higher rate of return will earn you more. Um, this accrued amount will then be considered for the subsequent interest calculation and continue to grow upon itself every time interest is credited. Most interest calculations are based on annual return periods. So you don't necessarily want to think about um, um, if you have um, like if we're thinking about interest and we're thinking about the numbers every year, you want to, go back to the basics. You know, with compounding interest, you're not just earning interest on your principal balance. Um, Even your interest earns interest. Compound interest is when you add the earned interest back into your principal balance, which then earns you even more interest, compounding your returns. We're talking about the basics here. Let's say you have $1,000 in a savings account, and that earns 5% in annual interest. In year one, you'd earn $50, right? Giving you a new balance of $1,050. In year two, you would earn 5% on the larger balance of $1,050, which is $5,250, giving you a new balance of $1,102.50 at the end of year two. So thanks to the magic of compound interest, the growth of your savings account balance would accelerate over time as you earn interest on increasing larger balances. So if you left $1,000 in this, savings account for, let's say, 30 years, and then you kept earning a 5% annual interest rate the whole time and never added another penny to the account, you'd end up with a balance of 4,000, like say $300. Interest can be compounded or added back into the principal at different time intervals. For instance, you earned compounded daily instead of annually. After 30 years, you'd end up with a balance of $4,481. You would have earned an additional $160 from interest being compounded more frequently, annual versus daily. So then you got simple interest versus compound interest. Simple interest works differently than compound interest. Simple interest is calculated based on the principal amount. So earned interest is not compounded or reinvested into the principal when calculating the simple interest. So thinking in terms of simple interest, like $1,000, an account balance that earns 5% annual interest would pay you $50 a year, period. The earned interest would not be added back in the principal. In year two, you'd earn another $50. Simple interest is commonly used to calculate the interest charged on car loans, for example, or other short-term loans. Meanwhile, when you got interest changed on credit card debt compounds, that's exactly why it feels like credit card debt can go so large so quick. So you'd want, ideally, your savings and investments to be calculated with compound interest, and then your debts would be calculated with simple interest. No, that's just not how it goes. So again, let's think about some of the basics here. So interest, what is interest? Interest is the interest rate you earned or are charged. So either way, the higher the interest rates, the more money you earn or the more money you owe. Starting principal. So a starting principal is how much money you're starting with. How big a loan did you take out? While compounding adds up over time, it's all about based upon the initial amount of money that you deposit or borrow. And then the frequency. The frequency of the compounding. Is it daily, monthly, annually? Is it how is it compounding? Make sure you understand how the interest compounds. Duration. How long do you plan on owning an account or a loan? The longer you leave the money in the account, or the longer you have it on the credit card, that big amount is going to be subject to interest, good or bad. And then you got to think about deposits and withdrawals. So again, if you're taking big chunks of that credit card debt out, like say when you get your tax return and you have $2,000, you could either go buy a new TV, or you could go take that and take a big chunk out of the debt that you owe. So that's a big deal. And that takes the potential interest that would negatively hurt you if you kept that debt going too long. You're going to be able to take a big chunk out of that and have less of a negative impact. On the other hand, with a savings account, if you are leaving that money in longer, what happens? You get more interest the longer you leave it there without taking money out. You have longer gains. So think about that when you think about compounding. You have to just know the rules on the accounts that you're using, the accounts that are impacting, your investment strategy. So now the other thing here is avoid costs and taxes. So we all want to pay, well, we don't all want to pay Uncle Sam what Uncle Sam is due, but to avoid jail time, we need to pay Uncle Sam what Uncle Sam is due, and we need to pay our taxes. But because the American tax code is not simple, it is very complex. It does make sense to consult your accountant of choice or accountant service of choice, and you don't want to take it on alone if go all alone if you're going to be making a significant investment strategy. This is where a strategic partner that you can, an accountant or a financial advisor is going to be paramount to your long-term strategy. They'll know right away the things that you need to do, whether it's, even just the way you earn money. If you're going to be, if you have a small business, you should consider, changing to an S corp, so that you can protect the way that you earn in your small business from getting hit with too many taxes, or if it's just how you invest, what type of accounts that you put your savings in. If it's a Roth IRA instead of some traditional IRA, you need to think about what it is you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to just do short-term saving, you should maybe think about, obviously you're not going to want to take a hit when you want to get pulled $20,000 out of your Roth IRA. That's bad for when you're 60, your upper 60s, middle 60s. When that matures, you don't want to think back and go, I wish I would have maybe opened up a different method for saving for short-term goals, as opposed to not taking out money and getting hit with taxes with the long-term saving. So you always want to think about, avoiding that. Now, we're not talking about, moving your investments to, or your savings, or your accounts over to some tax, moving it offshore to some type of tax haven, tax-free haven, where you're ignoring taxes, or you're trying to shield it from the federal government, state government. That's not what you want to be thinking about. Not a good play. Play by the rules, but if the rules are this complicated, make sure you're taking advantage of what rules are in the books that you can take advantage of, and don't take any shortcuts that's going to leave you and your family in a bad position, because there's nothing worse than having to pay back taxes based upon bad decisions you made and not getting that taken care of up front so that you can have long-term success. Avoiding costs, not just taxes, but avoiding costs. So you definitely want to think about if there could be management fees for you doing mutual funds, certain mutual funds. There could be fees that you want to avoid, that for certain investments that you want to make sure you understand the different types of accounts that you will be opening or have opened. You want to make sure who's managing your money. Even your financial advisor, when it comes to picking that out, make sure you're not getting charged too much in management fees to to deal with your money. Make sure that you have that do some research. Just make sure you're doing research before you invest. And then we'll keep continuing this series with episode 4 coming up next. Thanks for stopping by.